Hello everyone, Monty here, and today's chat is about finding your new normal. I have this term I always say, creating your new normal, because whenever you change something in your life, it's kind of, and you want to make something a new habit, you're creating a new normal, right? And so for everyone who thinks that they're totally doing 100% great on health, fitness, relationships, anything you want to change in your life. If you think your life is perfect, then keep scrolling. All right, so now that we only have people here who have things they need to work on, and the people that left are really delusional because nobody's perfect, right? Nobody has a perfect life. We're going to be, changing our life, trying to improve ourselves, and if we do that, then, till the day we die, right? So if we do that, we're going to always be creating new normal in our life, right? Things are going to become normal to us. So let's talk about that for one moment. So the thing that I find through reading articles in my own experience, right, is that I always reference an article I read that by February 17th, 80-something% of people's New Year's resolutions has gone by the wayside. And that's because people have given up. Because people, we, especially in this culture in America, we are like the society of excess. I want bigger portion, bigger cars, bigger homes, more expensive stuff. I want to have everything instantaneous gratification. And that's why we see so many people doing illegal things, because they want to, like white collar crime I'm talking about now, because people want to make a lot of money quick. And I find that anything in life, people don't give it enough time, especially with weight loss, with health and fitness. I love the expression, it took you months or years to get in the bad shape you're in now. Why do you expect it to take weeks to poof, be transformed and be in shape, right? So it always kills me when people, I talked about this yesterday, people are unrealistic with weight loss. They want to lose 5-10 pounds a week. And they listen to these commercials on TV, lose 60 pounds in 6 weeks. Bullshit, right? So if you do lose weight that quickly, it's not going to be sustainable weight. You'll gain it back real quickly. So what you have to do, so if you are listening to me now, then obviously you want to make some changes, and you have to realize that you're normal. If you're not succeeding in anything in life, in your weight, in your exercise, your fitness level, your relationships, your job, you're normal. What you're doing today is not working, right? If you're not where you want to be and you want to improve it, you're normal. The way you go about doing things is not working. Just like that expression, and I'm not saying who said it, because every time I say it, somebody says, oh, Einstein didn't say that, this person didn't say it. Whoever said it, I love the expression. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, and, but expecting a different result, right? So you have to find a new normal. If you're normal and what you're doing today isn't working, you have to find a new normal. That's where I came up with this, kind of saying, find your new normal, because what you're doing today is not bringing you to the goals that you want to achieve. Then you got to find a new normal. Now, why do people give up? I talked about they gave up because it was too, it wasn't happening fast enough. That's typically why people give up. It doesn't happen fast enough. Now, certain things like detoxing from sugar or making something a habit, there's all kinds of studies out there. The famous study of like this plastic surgeon who said it takes 21 days to form a new habit. But then a newer study came out and said, which I love, and says everyone's different. You can't just say 21 days to form a habit and you'll be, it'll be something, you'll do something for 21 days and it'll be a habit. I think that's a little bit, short. I know that I did read an article that kind of mapped to the 21 days about your taste buds. Your taste buds regenerate every 21 days. So if you stop eating sugar, for 3 weeks at least, again, everybody's different. It could be longer for you. That you go back and eating the sugar like I did, it was like, ugh, it's gross. And I was a sugaraholic. And that's what made the biggest change in my body, is getting off sugar. So there's another article I read recently that's more recent, updated article in the last couple of years, is saying it could take anywhere from 3 weeks to a year for something to really be embedded as a habit for you. And I'm going to talk about the things in my life that have become a new normal. And so number one reason why people don't succeed is they give up too quickly. That's probably the number one. The number two, it's because it's hard. And I came up with another expression too, said you always have to choose your hard in life. Another reason why I think people don't succeed on any endeavor, again, weight loss, financial, it could be relationships, is because you're creating a new normal, and it's going to be hard. And people, I always, when I talk to people and I mentor them, they're like, oh, that's right, it's a new year and I'm going to lose weight and it's going to be so great. I'm going to be skinny, I'm going to look great, and it's going to be great. And I go, really? I'll tell you what it's going to be. It's going to be really hard. If you keep telling yourself it's going to be so easy and everything's going to be so wonderful, then when you start doing it, you're going to get disenchanted and you're going to give up. So I always tell people, you know what? This new normal, this new endeavor you're going, it's going to be really hard in the beginning. Tell yourself it's going to be hard. It's going to be, challenging. It's going to seem like drudgery and torture. Like some of the things I always tell people, tracking your calories. I mean, it took me forever, years and years. Every time I stopped tracking my calories, I gained the weight back. And why? Because I stopped tracking. I always say track, or you're gonna gain it all back. I always talk about how it's calories consumed, calories burned. It is a mathematical, scientific formula proven that based upon your age, your activity level, I talked about this yesterday, your goals, your height, your sex, these calorie counters calculate how much calorie you need just from walking around all day long, and then you get extra based upon all those criteria you put into the application, and then based upon the exercise, you can add more calories to food, but I always say be careful with that, right? So doing all that and putting your food in and putting your exercise, it's a lot of work and it's hard, right? And measuring and weighing your food seems like a lot of extra work in the beginning, and it's hard. And prepping your food, like I do, for 4 to 5 hours, sometimes longer on the weekend, is hard. It's very, very hard. But eventually that hard will be replaced with just being your new normal. You create a new normal. So for me, my new normal is on Saturday, I go to Whole Foods. I also go to Publix. I buy all my food. And now I have to wipe it all down when it comes back. I wipe it down with Lysol. I wash all the fruits and vegetables, which I never used to do before Corona. That's become my new normal, right? So a lot of wearing a mask going out now has become our new normal, right? When we get used to it after a while. I'm getting used to the mask thing. At first it was like, oh my God, the mask. And I had to remember to get the mask. I'd leave the house without the mask. Now I know, before I leave the house, I have to have my masks. I have to wipe everything down when I come home. I'm really crazy about that stuff. But it's a new normal, and I say you gotta choose your heart. It's hard doing all those things, in the beginning, but eventually that hard will go away. What is equally as hard is when you look in the mirror and you go, oh, I look terrible, I got all this weight. You go to the doctor, they're putting you on medication because you have cholesterol, the diabetes, all this other. That's hard, having to take all these pills all day long, telling you kids you can't do your friends, or your friends you can't do certain things because of your weight, or you're not up to it, being tired because you're carrying around all the extra weight, having back pain because that's hard too. So I always say you got to balance everything out and choose your heart. And I promise you that when you're trying to create a new normal, anything in your life, and again, it doesn't have to be weight, it doesn't have to be fitness, it could be finance, it could be relationships. Maybe you're at the point where you want to get divorced or break up with someone, but maybe putting in the work is going to be hard, but maybe putting in the work is going to help save that relationship. So it's going to be hard at first, putting in the work to achieve anything in life, but you will get used to it. I mean, my life is so busy, but every time I add more stuff to it, I seem that I get used to it. At first it seems like overwhelming, but then I get used to it, and you do get used to it. And again, I can't say when anything's going to start being a habit. Like right now for me, counting calories, I made the decision that my new normal was going to be counting calories till the day I die, and I'll never stop doing it. Even when I was up to 10 pounds, I was still counting calories, but I was noticing that I was eating over my calories. Now that I'm doing intermittent fasting, I'm losing the weight now. Weighing and measure, it's just part of cooking. And one great thing about the weighing and measuring that seemed like drudgery at first, I noticed that certain things that I make now, because I measure, they come out perfect every time because I am measuring. I used to make my spaghetti squash, and in the beginning, it would be very watery in the bottom of the bowl, and it would be like, ugh. And I would be like, why is it watery? It doesn't look good when I would take pictures to post. But now that I measure a quarter cup of tomato sauce, it's the perfect amount. The same thing for the pita pizza with the tomato sauce. It could be watery and too much tomato sauce, but because I measure, it's perfect. And I can go on in examples like that. So sometimes that drudgery of weighing and measuring is not just to keep your caloric intake in check, it also keeps your recipe in check and perfects some of your recipes because you're putting the right mixture in when it comes out really perfect. You experiment, and I know exactly how much, and it saves me calories. I used to put more than a quarter cup in my spaghetti squash, and more than quarter cup of tomato sauce in my pita pizzas, but now that I only use a quarter, it's like half the calories. It also helps me that way. So again, I think you have to start reevaluating, what your normal is. How are you going to change your new normal? Accept the fact that it's going to be really hard, right? So if you got to set yourself up for success by saying, if I tell myself it's going to be really hard, but then also try to think of how you're going to work through that hard. Just like I always say, talk to yourself. Use the Tony Robbins technique and say, I'm going to use that Tony Robbins technique. I'm going to make a long list in my head about why I shouldn't do whatever I'm doing. Whether it's relationship-wise, financial, eating a bad food, and once you keep saying those things over and over in your head, the Tony Robbins technique says that we're driven by two main instinctual drivers, seeking out pleasure and avoiding pain, with avoiding pain being a bigger driver. So if you make that behavior more painful than pleasurable by talking yourself all the lists of why you shouldn't do it, and you exhaust yourself, you probably won't do that thing that you don't want to do, whether it's be eating bad food, spending money, saying the wrong thing to a loved one, in relationship-wise or whatever. So wrap this up. We're not running out of time, but I think I'm done with my chat here. I just wanted to say, if you're not where you want to be, your normal ain't working for you. You got to find a new normal, okay? Then once you but when you start off on this new normal, this new regime, you got to acknowledge and say it's going to be hard, but choose your heart, knowing that short term it's going to be hard. Long term, it will be your new normal, and all that other stuff that was hard, like I said, not liking what you see in the mirror, not enjoying going out and buying clothes because you feel like nothing fits right, and not being able to do things physically with your friends and your family, all that hard goes away, and your new normal is, you're acclimated to your new normal of all the other stuff, whether it's weighing food, measuring food, counting your calories, thinking about things before you purchase, and having that discussion in your head. All that stuff will become your new normal, and you will actually, in the long run, it'll be so much less hard, but you gotta put the hard in first. You really deal with the hard up front, and then all the other stuff, the hard goes away, and you've created a new normal that has gotten you closer to your goals and overall a happier person. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's chat. I like to do these on my lunch hour now because I have such a busy day. So I'm going to go make my lunch now, and I hope you guys are all having a great day.